Can we talk about the weirdest parts of pregnancy that no one warns you about? I'm talking gagging every time I brushed my teeth, feeling numb in the ribs from baby kicks, and feeling like I had a hangover for months on end. There are some pregnancy symptoms that I think we're all aware of, but there were a lot of physical pregnancy symptoms that really caught me off guard. Let's just say my body had a lot of surprises in store for my first pregnancy, and I really want to talk about it. So here are 10 physical symptoms of pregnancy that I experienced that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Starting with the first one that hit me almost immediately, and that was morning sickness. Now, I know what you're thinking, Shay, we all know about morning sickness. It's like the main thing that you hear about with pregnancies, but the thing that actually shocked me about morning sickness was how quickly it came on. I had started to experience nausea and morning sickness. It's not just morning sickness, it's all day sickness. I think most people will attest to that. It can occur at any time of the day, it doesn't really matter. I started feeling morning sickness about 5 weeks into my pregnancy, and it's half the reason I actually took a pregnancy test to start with. I just started feeling really like kind of off, a little bit funky, and then I would say I took the test around 5 weeks, and within a week I had full-blown morning sickness. And let me tell you, it's not just a bit of nausea, it made me feel like I was hungover all day, every day for 16 weeks. It was not just like a mild inconvenience, it made it hard to work, it made it hard to eat because you felt sick. Knowing what I know now, you need to eat consistently, like at least just be snacking on things constantly, and I think that really helped my morning sickness. But it just surprised me how fast it came on and how quickly I felt pregnant because of it. Like, it's strange in your first trimester, and I think this comes in with this morning sickness feeling, is you feel pregnant like almost immediately. Like, you just know your body feels different, and I think the morning sickness really contributed to that for me. I felt pregnant even though I didn't look pregnant at the time, and I was just honestly so sick every day. Yeah, it really shocked me, I think, how fast it came on and how actually intense it was. The next one was probably one of those things that surprised me the most out of everything, especially in the first trimester, and that was that spotting can be normal. I believed that spotting in pregnancy just automatically meant miscarriage, and so I actually had some spotting at about 8 weeks, which when I checked my period app, it was actually around the time that I was supposed to get my period, so it was kind of like a breakthrough bleed. But I immediately panicked and thought that I was miscarrying, and yeah, it is like one of the scariest things to experience when you have no idea that that actually can be normal. I went into my ultrasound, and I'd actually spoken to the ultrasound technician, and she had kind of asked me like, are you concerned about anything? How have you been feeling? What's been going on? And I sort of had said to her that I was experiencing a little bit of spotting, but nothing had like come of it. It hadn't gotten worse or anything. And she was like, oh, I wish doctors would communicate this more to people who are going through pregnancy, but some spotting is normal. Like, don't panic straight away. It can be normal. And for me, it was normal. I experienced spotting at 8 weeks, and then I think a little bit more at 12 weeks, but that was it. And so, yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Maybe not to panic straight away. I am so grateful that that was the case, but it is definitely something that surprised me and something I didn't know before pregnancy. So number 3 was my heightened sense of smell. This one rocked me from the very start till the very end of my pregnancy. Everything smelt bad. Everything smelt so much worse than what it was. I remember, I think I must have been 3rd trimester pregnancy. I have this very strong memory of this, and I was lying on the couch in our living room, and I said to Caleb, something stinks so bad, it's driving me nuts. And he was like, I don't know what it is, Shay. Like, he's like running around. I think my mum was there too, and she was running around there trying to figure out what it was that I was smelling, and it was the cat food. It was literally my cat's food. That's never bothered me before, and it was just Like no one else could smell it, just me. It's just insane, like the way your senses just get so heightened. So the next thing that really surprised me was that brushing my teeth equaled gag reflex. And this was not something I knew was a thing, but apparently it's really common for every time a pregnant lady brushes her teeth, she wants to gag. It just, yeah, I don't know. Every day for 9 months, every time I brushed my teeth, I just felt like I wanted to gag. It was disgusting and not fun. And as soon as Blair was born, I immediately felt better and I could brush my teeth like a normal human being again. So definitely not something I expected to experience. The next one is a really nice unexpected surprise, and that was experiencing baby hiccups. So I think we're all sort of aware that you experience your baby kicking you and moving around in your belly, which is just, oh my gosh, the most amazing feeling. And I think in that in itself, I was so surprised by how wonderful that felt. And yeah, that was wonderful. But the thing that surprised me was that you can feel your baby hiccuping in your belly. And I remember I would sort of feel these weird little like I don't know, your baby kicking is kind of like a or like a movement, whereas like a hiccup is kind of like a tick 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 like that. And I didn't know what it was at the start. I kind of just thought it was like really like the baby just like kind of moving around a little bit. Like I didn't really think too much of it, and then eventually I figured out it was my baby hiccuping, and that got more intense like in the 3rd trimester, I think. And I just found that so funny, like these little rhythmic taps in your belly. Just so cute. But yeah, I didn't know experiencing baby hiccups was a thing until I experienced it. So yeah, I think that's a really cool thing, a really cool unexpected surprise of pregnancy. The next thing that surprised me about pregnancy was the absolute bone deep exhaustion that you feel. Particularly for me, well, to be honest, I felt it the whole way, but particularly 1st and 3rd, but I still needed to take naps in my 2nd trimester. I was tired the whole way through my pregnancy. I'm someone who suffers a little bit with exhaustion and fatigue already, so pregnancy definitely took a toll on me in that regard, but it's next level. I remember in my 1st trimester, it shocked me so much how beyond tired I was, and I would just nap, like on the spot. Like it would just be so easy for me to nap. And yeah, it just blew my mind how tired I was. I'd never felt that tired before in my life. And in the same realm, I also want to talk about another thing that surprised me, which I'm gonna include in this one, but it's like feeling so exhausted but not being able to sleep, like suffering with insomnia. In my 3rd trimester, I suffered really badly with insomnia. I could not sleep. I was up for hours, and I would just be taking like naps like randomly throughout the day. And yeah, I just got so uncomfortable in my last trimester with a variety of things, which I'm going to talk about, which impacted my ability to sleep. And it was tough because I was so exhausted from being pregnant, and then not being able to sleep on top of that made it really hard. So yeah, it's bizarre feeling so tired and not being able to sleep at all. Another thing that surprised me was the numbness that I would feel on one side of my body from the weight that I was carrying. So normally I'm a back sleeper. When you're pregnant, you can't sleep on your back, which is a bit of a surprise to a lot of people as well, I think, is that you can't sleep on your back. It's dangerous for the baby, so you're encouraged to sleep on your side. And so I would rotate between sides. So I would, lie on one side and I'd wake up and I'd roll on the other side to, because I'd get sore on one side. And as I got heavier and heavier in the 3rd trimester, this got harder and harder. And I would wake up after sleeping for a couple of hours, and like if I was sleeping on my left side, for example, my whole left side, like literally my arm, my side of my torso here, and my leg would be completely numb from the weight. And then I would have to try and like roll over, pull my pregnancy pillow over and lie on the other side. And I just remember it being so painful and so sore by the end of it. I was just, yeah, I was struggling a lot with that. I think just turning in bed became a whole event towards the end. So the next thing that I experienced that really surprised me during pregnancy was, this is probably the worst symptom I experienced in pregnancy, the thing that I look back on and really don't want to have to deal with again. And that was lightning crotch and like pelvic pressure. But particularly the lightning crotch. I think it was maybe late second trimester, early third. I think it was late second trimester I started experiencing little bits of lightning crotch, and it felt like I think she had sort of gone head down, and like she was head down from like 28 weeks onwards. So yeah, I feel like it was around 28 weeks that my lightning crotch really started to take a toll on me. If you don't know what lightning crotch is, it's basically this sharp shooting pain that you get in your lady area, and it is so painful. At the start, it was kind of like very like on and off, intermittent, didn't get it, like got it occasionally. And luckily I had read about lightning crotch, otherwise I would have been freaked out, because the experience I had with it was so painful. I think if I hadn't have read about it, I would have probably panicked, but I knew what it was, and yeah, it's not fun. And as my third trimester progressed, it got worse and worse to the point where I couldn't even take a few steps without experiencing lightning crotch. And by this point, the pressure in my pelvis from her head, it kind of felt like her head was like pressing on a nerve, and every time like I would walk a certain way or, you know, take a step or whatever, it was like her head kind of moved onto this nerve and was just causing me so much pain. And yeah, I think it was genuinely my worst symptom that I had during pregnancy. It was something I was not expecting to experience. I knew that third trimester would be really tough, but if I didn't experience that, I think my third trimester would have been a lot easier. I think that was one of the worst things about pregnancy for me, was the lightning crotch towards the end. The next thing that surprised me about pregnancy was a symptom that I do think we're all kind of aware of, like we've heard of it, but I don't think I was expecting the severity of it that occurred, and that was heartburn. Heartburn, it sort of started, I think, mostly during I had it kind of sporadically throughout my pregnancy. As with most people, I think the heartburn just gets worse and worse towards the end, which in my last few weeks of pregnancy, I was sleeping sitting upright. Like, it felt like my whole throat and chest and everything was on fire. And I remember I think this was a big thing that contributed to my insomnia. I had it really, really bad at night and I couldn't sleep, and I was literally sleeping like in bed, like upright like this with like pillows against my back. And eventually I just learned to sleep sitting up. So that's kind of what I did for the last probably 5 weeks of my pregnancy. And yeah, that was tough. That was a tough one. I wasn't expecting the severity of the heartburn, but let me tell you, the second she was born, that heartburn was just gone. And I don't think I've even experienced heartburn since. So the final thing that surprised me about pregnancy was how numb my ribs felt from baby kicks and the nerve pain that I got after it. In the last few weeks of my pregnancy, I really noticed that I was having like sharp pains in my ribs, and it was very numb to touch. Like, I could not even really feel my ribs anymore, just the twinges of pain that I was getting in there, and it was just numb. And then she was born, and I was kind of thinking like it's gonna go back to normal. And after I gave birth, they would come in and be like, are you experiencing any pain or whatever? And the main thing I remember telling them was that I had like pain here, like really weird, like sharp pain. And yeah, the doctor said that I just had a bit of nerve damage from her kicking me, and that it would likely go away in a month or two. And I'm thinking it's gonna go away like immediately after giving birth, but it did. It took probably like a month or a month and a half to go away, and then it finally went. I don't even remember her kicking me that hard. It was just constant, I think. I felt like she was constantly kicking me in the ribs like all the time. And she was head down very early, so her feet were up here for ages, and yeah, it just was right in my ribs. That was just something that shocked me. I knew that baby kicks could be full on, but I didn't expect to have numb ribs and nerve damage afterwards. But it repaired itself, it's all fine, it's all good now. So yeah. So I know I said I was gonna do 10 pregnancy symptoms that surprised me, but I just thought of another one that I want to mention. So I'm gonna do a bonus 11th one. And that was how my hips changed, like permanently changed after giving birth. Like I guess sort of expected it, but not to the extent of what it actually did. Like so many of my pants don't fit me anymore not because I'm like a bigger weight, but because my hips don't fit into them. And that just like shocked me. How different my hip shape is compared to what it used to be. I actually have curves now. So pregnancy is a beautiful experience, but it is so wild, and it can create symptoms that are temporary and will only last you the duration of your pregnancy, but it can also alter your body for the rest of your life. So it really is just crazy that we are able to shift and change in our bodies to bring new human beings, little babies into the world. It's so special, and I feel so lucky to be a woman and have gotten to experience it. Let me know in the comments which symptoms you've experienced during pregnancy. If this is your first pregnancy and you're going through the trenches right now, my heart is with you, you've got this. Just treasure the time as much as you can. But yes, I'm so aware that pregnancy is tough. It is definitely not a walk in the park, and it's okay to feel like you're struggling some days, and that's okay too. But let me know if there was any other things that you experienced in your pregnancy that surprised you, and stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to be doing a part 2 all about the emotional and mental things and experiences that I had during pregnancy that surprised me as well, because I feel like that's its whole own video in itself. So don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me and see part 2, which is coming very, very soon. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!